stuck in one group, because everybody's got a different thought, everyone's got a different opinion. And I find when we take everybody's thoughts and opinions and merge them all together, we come out with some of the better ideas in the industry, which is what we need. So I'm just going to move down here. So right now, the reason I can't tell you what's happening at this moment is because at this moment, everything is changing daily, right? Some cities, some counties, some states are open, closed, people. It's a melting pot right now of craziness. But what I can tell you is about the print industry is it's really, really important. I think it's one of the better industries out there. I know I get a lot of hums and ohs and whatnot, but the truth is, without the print industry, every other industry stands still. No drugs are sold, there's no instructions, all my clothes would be bad without washing instructions. Food, making, building, anything you could think of, there is something printed that comes with it, with an instruction or direction on how to do it. So to think that we could live without that is absurd, right? Right down to the lotto tickets that we buy all the time, wishing our luck changes and life goes in a funny way. The tickets are printed. So I am stoked about the printing industry. I think, as I said, it's changing rapidly. I think today it's about attitude, right? I think when I go around and I talk to people, I'm looking for positive people. I think we have a lot of negative people in the industry, and I'm just trying to think how to word it. There is no better way to word it than this. If you're negative and you're in the industry and you're working in it or you're teaching kids or any of that, get out. Our children have no room for bad attitudes because everything else is already stacked against them. We need educators that are going to be positive, that are going to embrace it. Yes, you're allowed to have a bad day because we all have bad days, but our kids are sponges right now. And it's really important, and they're impressionable. I do like that word, impressionable, with what we tell them and what they hear. And I've learned all of this from my own kids. And I'll give you actually a quick example. I'm talking to my daughter, and she's 24 right now, and I'm not really liking the conversation or the tone or the way she's talking to me. And I say to my ex-wife after, I go, "What's up with Annie?" And she says, "Warren, I hate to tell you this, but you're talking to a mirror of yourself." And I just went, holy moly. And my heart sunk, and it was a life changer of a thought process for me. Because now I realized that what I say with my daughter and perhaps others, people are listening and taking it to be something. Where before I took it, everything I said, I was just shooting my mouth off. But what we say has an impact on people, right? So it's a lot easier to be positive than it is negative. And these are just from some of the, I'm not a teacher of training or anything. These are just my own world life experiences from learning the easy ways and the hard ways. And when I started in print, I had an afro, right? So since then, I've been pulling out a lot of hair along the way, but it's made me pretty good and pretty comfortable, with who I am and what we're doing. So really important that the attitude is great. The other thing in the industry is we have some amazing people. We got to connect with them and we got to keep working with them. I hear in the industry I hear different people say the industry is going down. Before anything, anybody who wants to ask a question, say something, put your hand up. You could interrupt me anytime you want. But you don't all have to get excited at once and jump up and down and put your hands up together, but just let me know. But the industry is really, I think it's great. I hear a lot of people on one end of it, on the outside of the industry, I hear people talking about it's tough, it's going down, there's no jobs and all this other stuff. And all I want to say to that is, that's bullshit, okay? The printers that I'm talking to, the companies that I'm talking to, what I hear is we can't find enough good people. Yes, we're employing people, but we can't find enough good people. And that's been my experience over the years as well. What I used to do, and I'm a proponent of anything. I'm a proponent of helping people, talking to people, because people help people, and it doesn't matter where you are, and you don't know where it comes back at you, right? If you're a believer in karma. But for years, we had a printing school in Montreal, part of a vocational school. And every semester, I would have them bring that print class. If it was the fall, they were. If it was the spring, they were spring they were graduating. Fall, it was intro, and I would have them bring over 20, 25 students in the class, just so that they could walk around the plant. We would break the groups down into 4 teams so that they were small enough that we put a person on the team. When they went around to talk, people were able to become engaged. We tried to engage them because we know how it is when people come in. Sometimes they're a little intimidated or a little shy. So you pull it out of them. I would walk them on top of the presses when they were running so that they could feel the vibration in the ground. We'd let everybody in all the departments talk to them and push the buttons. I would ask them to send me their CVs. I would go one farther in that I would give out a kit to everyone and tell them to take it home to their parents in case that we were in a position of purchasing print for whatever company they worked for. As the eternal optimistic sales guy, any opportunity I ever had to hand someone my card and ask them if they or anyone they know needs print, I did, because the whole world needs print, right? Someone just said, so I'll look at the chats after, because I have ADD HDTV and I can't talk and read at the same time. It gets a little confusing, but we need to keep it to moving. And then as the age force is aging in our industry, and it is aging, by the way, there's a need for more people. The average pressman is 55 years old. Right? Graphic arts, a lot younger, the bindery people. And even our industry for working today is fun. You don't get your hands as dirty as you used to. And I never like to get my hands dirty in the back, but everything today is push button. If you've seen, and if you haven't seen, you should go look. The new 40-inch presses have like giant 40-inch TVs at the front of the press where you're watching all the gears going in the paper, and you have the scanning and read the sheet, and all these different other pieces of equipment have all this new technology on it, which I think is a great selling point to the youngins, because it's not just, in some cases, labor. It's labor with $1 million pieces of equipment. It's almost as if you're working in the helicopter factory. The stuff that we're putting out is really, it's really fun. I always love, just drop my chair. I always love going, even today I go into the store and, my wife's at the cash register and I hear her screaming, "Warren, where are you?" She wants me to pay, of course. And I'm stuck in an aisle looking at a package going, "I can't believe they accepted this. If I would deliver it, they would have cut me off and send the order back." Right? So it's all in how it's how you take it and embrace it. So when I'm thinking about the kids, I'm thinking about the aging workforce, and I'm telling you, there are job opportunities. So really, we need you with the best foot forward, with the biggest smile, just promoting this industry. And I'm letting you know that there's a lot of good stuff happening, and it will continue to happen. It's just, that's the way it is. The evolving technology that we have in automation, that's another reason for the youngins to come in. I mean, I remember the days, I never ran a press, by the way, but I remember in the old days of the presses, and you're adjusting on the side, the tension, and the ink, you're on top, and within 6 minutes, ink splattered all over you and you're ruined for the day. Today, it's all being pumped in through a machine in most places, and you're pushing a button, and pre-press is setting up the color. And if you're a pressman / color expert, you got a couple minutes of playing around. Average make ready today on a quality job is 15 to 18 minutes, which is pretty incredible. If you're working in a gang run shop, the average make ready is 3 minutes. So you're constantly moving and keeping things going. Just trying to move around here. Yeah, so I want to talk about again the children that we're teaching. When I'm going around, this is what I realized not long ago. There's a lot of people in the industry that don't talk so highly of it. So to those people in our industry that don't talk highly, once again, get out, because before you ruin it for the rest of us and your peers, we don't need you around here, right? And tell the guy or girl beside you, leave, because bad attitudes are bad attitudes, right? There is no way around it. I'm loving watching these kids, and I'm going to say that if you are 35, I'm just making it up on my own, by the way, so if anyone has an issue, you can tell me. But I believe if we're 35 and older, we're already, or 30 and older, we're already stuck in our ways, and we're done. Even though we like to think, even though we're getting a little older, we're mature and we could change, forget that. We can't. So everything we do can't be about us. It must be about the young kids that are 5, 10, 15 and coming up, because those are the ones that we need to train, educate, and teach. We need to instill good thinking in them, good thought patterns in them, and not our, I'll just say, not our grumpy old ways, right? And we could all be a little grumpy sometimes, and it's okay, but we must think of the bigger picture, attitude, and what they're learning. So positive, positive, positive. I know it's really not that easy all the time. I'm personally presently working with a life coach, and I'm happy to tell everybody, because what I've learned in the last little bit has blown me away. And I used to think I knew well, my ex-wife told me I knew everything. But what I've learned is I'll tell you one thing that I've learned, and it goes like this. Our thoughts become our beliefs become our habits, right? So, and then we have a part of our brain called the saboteur that tries to sabotage us when we're doing things. So the first thing, when you have a thought, you have to ask yourself, is that thought true? If it's not true, stop the thinking and move on to something that is true. Break the bad habits that we have of continuing to say certain things and deliver a message that's not right. It takes effort by us. I'm learning to change my mindset in certain areas is brutal. It's a daily process of questioning myself on my thinking. But at the end of the day, and every day, I feel a little better because I feel that I'm accomplishing something. And I will tell you that there's people that have been around me that have said to me, Warren, what's up? I'm sensing you're more positive these days. And the reason for that is I'm trying to push the negative stuff out. After living during this COVID, I think a lot of us are having time to rethink who we are, what we do, how we act, and how we respond to things. For me personally, this COVID has brought it down to the basic, simplest denominator in life. We need to live, we need to breathe, we need to be smart, we need to be respectful of everybody else, because that's all it is today. So I take that back to our kids, and it's really important that we instill the right stuff in them. But you should know that you are in the right industry. The program that is offered by Print Ed to enable people to help teach the children is second to none. I don't know how involved everybody is in it or what everybody thinks, but really you should be embracing it. If you've got anything with it that you think could be improved or changed or upped to make it better, speak up. I don't know how many in the group actually speak up when they have the opportunity. I will tell you that from my experience, and I don't know you all, but most of you say nothing. Would that be fair? Hands, somebody, feedback, or does everybody give me a still shot? Head moving. I got a thumb. What? 2 thumbs. We can have enough. I got a smile. I got a still shot. That's it. Come on, guys. You're killing me. Killing me. All right. I know. It's early. Actually, it's early. And by the way, I was late slightly because no one told me it was Central Time and I'm on Eastern Time. But that's okay. So, yeah. So really, I'll just sum it up because I can go on saying the same things for a long time. Great industry. We need people like you. We need people like you guys, girls, guys, got to be careful today, to be engaged, to ask, to put the foot forward, to encourage the students to step up. And to you, all of you, if any of your peers are being negative, you don't have to be mean. Take them aside and say, yo, I just heard you. I wasn't comfortable. If I wasn't comfortable, think about the kids, right? This is only about the kids and the printing industry, but we need the kids in the printing industry. It's really simple. And when all said and done, I just happen to love print, and I'll do anything that I can for anybody to help. Before I end, I will say on LinkedIn, you can find me. Please connect with me. You can check out my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel, by the way, show your students. The video you just saw was up there. And then I've got a bunch of other videos that I do for What They Think. And I try to be a little bit real. So some are, actually, I think they're all funny, but I'm biased to me. You can go to my Facebook page. Everything's under Warren Werbit. Sign up on Instagram. When I'm not printing, I'm fishing. So if anybody wants to hire me for some consulting and you're near some good water, I'm happy to come down, work with you, and you could take me fishing the next day. Largemouth bass is on my radar right now. If you're down in the Tarpon area, I'm coming there before the bass area. That's how I operate. It's basic. I work where the fish are. But makes for a great habit.
I don't have an administrator password. You can't do.
Have you turned yours on?
No, I don't have one. Have you switched user?
Jeez.
Are you able to switch user, or is it
I
just
didn't even look at that, but it just had me.
Mute that.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, so check me out on all the social media. Anybody wants to talk, chat, send a question, love to talk. Turn the kids onto it just so that they can see you got a wacko in the industry making videos and calling it the way it is. And I'm around and I'm here. Are we stretching this morning? A little exercise? Got to remember, everybody's watching.
Off.
So, and so any questions, any thoughts, anything?
Hey, Warren.
Hey.
There was a question from a teacher about creating a new video for students of this time and place.
Right.
You think you could do another video?
Sure.
Kind of along those lines. I mean, I know back, what was that, 2010 that video was out?
Yeah, 2007 actually, that video was out, and then a year or two later there was another one out there. Wasn't as good as the original, but kind of like most stuff, sometimes when you're a heavyweight champion, you have to leave the ring before you get knocked out on the return.
So,
but yeah.
So just for everybody's information, at that time, 2007, I mean, the banking industry tanked. Everybody was getting hit all over the place. Printing was a target of a lot of negative stuff. And that, I believe that's what led Warren to create this video. So it was over the top, but that time period kind of required it to be over the top. And the reason people liked it is because it stopped them in their tracks. And they say, that's exactly what I'm feeling on the inside, although I can't express it. And this is my release to get, watch this video. I remember seeing you at Graph Expo running from room to room when that was open. I think you won an award for that video that year.
Yeah, that video, there was a lot of awards, and it was actually pretty funny. And that year I was asked to do some keynotes and big speaking, and I'm thinking like, guys, I don't know what I'm talking about. And everyone's like, well, you know more than us. And that's where I learned about marketing. And that's where I learned how you package yourself is how people will perceive you after.
Yeah.
Right? Because what am I? I'm just a regular guy who got lucky. And by the way, when that video came out in 2008, I had just finished an $8 million expansion and moved into the new building the same day Lehman Brothers went bust. That was my, hey, Warren, good move, expanding. but we survived.
Another question. Do you, when you were running your business, how did you hire younger people? How did you hire younger folks?
Basically, you were putting in CVs. We tried to hire young people because the thought was, yes, they come and go, but if you can keep the good ones and you're investing in them and they will stay, because our industry people turn, we would hire them. They would come in depending on what the position was. We would take them down. We would show them. If it was a graphic department, we would put them on the computer for a couple hours and see what they knew. Or I'd have someone sit with them so that they can get a good handle on the real flow or the ease of flow or the ability of the person to think quickly, maybe not know, but be able to think quickly and ask some really good questions. We would try to we try to encourage, and I would encourage the people that we hire some younger people, every fourth position if you could, because you still need to have some experience. And then the other thing that we did in our place was we cross-trained everybody in the plant on all the different equipment. So it didn't matter who you were. To be on a press, you have to have a little bit more in you because you're on a $3 million machine. So I'm not letting anybody jump into my Ferrari and go. But everybody else in the area has moved them around from the bindery, large format, to the cutting. And it does, a couple things come from that. Selfishly, what comes from that is I'm never stuck in my production. People could get sick, people could be whatever. You could always move someone and not have to worry that you can't get a rush out for someone. The other thing, and secondly, most importantly, when you're doing this multiple training to all these people, you're giving them a sense of being. You're giving them a sense of ownership. You're giving them a sense of respect, because how many companies do that? And all these people that worked for me, all their friends work for other printers. We're like a sick industry. When you're in somewhere, it's like the cops, right? When you're a cop, you're friends with cops and everyone's a cop. You're a printing industry, you're a printer, everyone's a printer. You do what you got to do, but you got to make everyone feel good all the time. There's no putting people down. There's just raising people up.
Hey, Warren, we had one
Yeah.
question from Jerry, who works with incarcerated men. What are the opportunities for ex-felons to be hired? Is it increasing?
For
Felons.
ex-felons.
Ex-felons.
I cannot answer that question. I do not know. I haven't had that.
I was going to say, at least in here in Maryland, I believe 2 places that have a program to work with ex-felons and stuff like that. I don't know what it's like. I can't speak for the rest of the country, but that's just from my experience.
Okay.
Are there any, I don't know of, but are there any printing training schools in prisons?
Yes, several actually, and
Yes.
several of the instructors are here with us today.
Oh, cool.
That's why the question was brought up.
Okay. My honest answer is I would think that there is opportunity. I would think it would also depend on maybe what they were away for, right? Just from the way people are. But I think today, my thinking today is when I meet people, if they're good at what they do and they fit into what what our culture is, then I'm not a big discriminator of anything. I mean, people are people, good is good, bad is bad. Right? Not everything that happens to people defines who they are. Any other questions? Is everybody happy with what they're doing? You guys are killing me. This is the morning. Where's the excitement? The hurrah. Hey, yeah, I hate it. I love it. But okay, so this is what I'm going to say. And please, nobody take it the wrong way. If I was a student right now and asked that question, I'd leave the class. You get what I'm saying? You have an opportunity with me right now because I'm pretty loose and chill to give back a little humor, a little joke, make this a light meeting. And I'm going to tell you, I'm upset. There's no reaction. There's no real, guys, you could ask me anything you want. I've been all over the place, the good, the bad. I've had my head smacked up and down. I got stuck in a press. I've had paper thrown at me. I've been burnt for 200 grand by a customer. I've hired, so like, I'm the guy who's going to tell it to you straight. So if you don't want to ask on the call, that's cool, but please take my coordinates down and feel free to reach out to me. If anybody would want me in any of the classes to speak, it would be my pleasure and my honor to sit in on a class or do a call. There's not a charge for it. When it comes to kids, I can't say no to that. But if you think that I could be engaging to them for a moment and, you know, teach them how to help make you laugh at them with them, I would love to do that, because laughing kids in a class keep the kids more interested. Right? I went to a class, when I was in school, I was looking at the time at the clock and out the window. Right? Why? Because I hated my teachers who were boring, dull, and just talk like this. So if any of you talk like that, go take some lessons and smile, pick it up, wear a mask, wear a funny t-shirt. You guys are fighting the technology today. Their phones are under their desks, even though they probably shouldn't be there. Right? So anyways, I can go on and on and on with that stuff. I think you guys are awesome for taking the time and wanting to educate our kids. I couldn't do it full time. I never understood how daycare centers, teachers, and everybody else does it. But if no one thanks you enough, then I would like to thank you for everything that you're doing for our kids.
Good morning. Excuse me. I have a question.
Oh my God, a question. I'm so excited.
So I'm actually stealing Carol King Bolden's question because I didn't know if you all saw that question that popped up in the chat, but I was thinking the same thing. What are you looking for in new staff as an employer, and with the growing technology and that kind of thing? What are you looking for so we can share this with our students?
That's a good question. I'm looking for people that come in that, number one, are presentable, right? And have a good aura about them, who speak and have an understanding of just general life conversations, right? Make sure that people are good interacting with others. Finding out, asking them, you know, are they good to learning, speaking, questions. We like to let people know that we have people that are here to assist them because nobody could do it on their own, right? The other thing that we used to do, we did a lot of testing. So before we would hire somebody, we would do a couple hours of, I'm gonna say Caliper because it's the name that comes to mind. It's a testing company, and that would give us a good indication of some of their capabilities and where their mindset is. Because the last thing I ever want to do in a company is bring someone in who's not right? Because it has a negative impact on the people that already work there, because then they look at me and go, oh my God, like, are you a dummy? Didn't you know that this was going to happen? So we try to do a lot of the preempt before. But the kids have to come in looking good, speaking well. And then the truth is, I have to pull stuff out of them too sometimes. Not all the kids come out there with this open outward personality. Maybe they are with you and their friends, but then they get into this environment and they get a little blocked or a little intimidated. So it's my job to sense some of that and find a way to put them at ease, right? I think it's really important on this side. You know, we want the people, but we have to remember if some of them are coming for the first time, what do we expect them to know? It's like when you say to a kid, what's your experience? That's almost a stupid question, right? They're coming out of school and the guy's going to have to give you a negative answer. Well, I worked in a magazine store, right? So I think we, on my side, can use a little bit of training too when it comes to taking kids or hiring them or speaking with them, or young adults, can't say kids anymore, young adults. But anybody coming in who's interested gets our interest right away, and we go to round 2 with them.
We have another question in the chat box. Have you seen a change in the soft skills that students or adults need in the industry?
Define soft skills
Real
for
quick,
me.
it is 2-minute warning, Warren.
Okay.
Oh, you can cut
Richard,
me
do
off
you wanna
whenever you want. Everyone else does. Sorry, can you just
Richard,
say?
do you want to elaborate? Since you asked the question.
Soft
So
skill.
the soft skills I'm referring to would be more in-depth thinking and dealing with the customers, problem solving in groups, more collaborative working with your coworkers, as opposed to working in the vacuum in your specific department. And I guess in dealing with, I guess it's dependent on the type of printing company. Is it the business? Because some large companies don't have walk-in customers in the commercial industries.
Yeah, so I mean, for skills like that, I think every company has a need, whether it's a walk-in or whatnot. I think it's important that people, like we used to, when we have a project, we would bring a person in from every department to be participating, so everybody sees and learns what everybody else is doing, right? Again, everything is crossover, everything is train, everything is have people work together to see, to learn. I think, yeah, it's very important. But you said something about the type of company. That's the most important thing. I'm spending my time today now talking to some of the owners, and I'm trying to say to them, listen, you got to make changes, because it all starts in every company. It starts at the top. And if the top doesn't buy into it, it doesn't roll down. So if you know those companies, don't send your kids to those companies. You got to send your kids to the companies where the owners and the management have the right attitude and appreciate, just don't want to use them, turn them, and burn them.
So
Right?
are you finding that the communication from the companies it's only a one-way communication? Because there's a lot of that in the education field. It only comes down. There is no two-way communication where we send something that goes up because it will stop somewhere along the chain of command. But are you finding the same thing in the industry, that the communication is only coming from the top?
In some places, there's open communication, right? There's some companies that have once a week sit down where everybody gets to speak and voice, and that's how you learn things. What I used to do, and I'll just be real quick, was I got, and this is about people and how some people operate, but I remember getting everyone together in the press room, and we were 60 people at the time, and I said to everybody, listen, I need ideas. I need to hear from you guys, girls. What's up? I said, so I'm going to put a suggestion box here, and I'm going to give $100 cash to the best suggestion, right? And we're going to open them up, and we're going to post on the board all the suggestions, and either it's a good one, a bad one, and why. Because I wanted to help people understand some of the thinking process, and not just to say yes or no, because if you don't explain, they don't know. Anyways, the first week we do it, 6 suggestions in the box. I'm blown away. I just offered $100 cash to do nothing but write something on a piece of paper, right? So I went over to the box, I took out the 6 suggestions, I called the 6 people, and I said, people, you each get a $100 bill for the suggestion. The rest of you get nothing because you made no effort. And then I went through and I gave the person with the best suggestion $100. I was trying to make a point of involvement, engagement. The next week rolls around, I had 9 questions in the box. I look around and I said to everyone, you're kidding me. It's free money. You got to work 2.5 hours to get this, and it's tax-free, right? So it made me understand that it's a little harder than I thought to get through to some people, right? Because it was just that easy. So I ended up taking the time and going around to talk to all the people over the next few days one-on-one, just to ask them what they were thinking. And a lot of people are just timid, intimidated, uncomfortable. So you might think you have a lot of quiet people that have some issues or no issues. No, you just have people who just aren't sure how to get the voice out of their system. And for that, you have to work a little harder on it, right? Because they're the kids and you're the professors. So with that, I'm going to say I'm done. I thank you for everything that you do. I thank everybody who didn't turn off me and listened.
Hey, Warren,
yeah.
do you mind if we ask one more question?
You can
Not
ask
to
10
cut-
questions. It's your conference.
Not to cut into your time, Paul, but
Oh, that's,
I mean,
yeah.
it's Warren.
Yeah.
So Carol, she asked, what programs or skills are you looking for? She's had owners tell her that they will hire someone with a good attitude over high-end Adobe skills.
It's all about your attitude first. It's all about your demeanor. You need to be a team player. That's why some of that short testing at the beginning, when you give it to someone, tells you right away what's going on in the mind, or how they do it. I've done the test myself. The first time I did one of those job tests, the guy said to me, "It's a good thing you own the company because you should be a farmer," right? And I'm kind of laughing. But yeah, it's that's why you do those things, to know attitude. If you have a bad attitude, you're going to ruin it for everybody. Think about your own lives. Think about your own friends. Think about when you go places, right? Listen, I can give you a perfect example for me. Wife says, "Oh, let's go here with friends for the weekend." And right away, I don't want to go there. He's an asshole. I don't want to spend the weekend with those people. And then I'm like, I end up going because that's what happens.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hammer, what did you say?
Sorry? Yeah. And then at the end of the weekend, I'm like, man, that was the best weekend I ever had.
That's what Brian said, yes.
Okay.
So we could take everything. I'll say it like this. We all know what we like. We all know right and wrong. We all know what we should do for our children, right? You could ask me all the questions, I'll answer them, but I'd say to everybody, take a deep, hard look inside, take a piece of paper, write down the 7 things that you know that are most important, and those are the things you put on the wall and live by. Yes, you have a bad day, maybe you move them around, but attitude is about, listen, in your classes, when someone asks, who do you go to? You go to the kids in the class that are the most interactive. You go to the ones that you know that when you ask a question, they're going to give you an answer, right? You got to break it up a little and encourage the ones not giving you the answer to give the answer, because he or she knows the question or the answer to the question. Is that our moment of silence to say I'm done?
Thank you, Warren. We really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us.
Oh, thank you.
I did have one more, Paul, that I was typing in.
Sorry?
I did have one more. The last question, well, for me,
go ahead.
Is so how do we as educators get our district leaders to understand that we the subject matter experts for our group, and to have us become a repository for feeding into the industry? A lot of times there's a gap between us being a pipeline to business, because we aren't really set up for these kids to fully come in with some of the skills. But how do we get our leadership to kind of help us prepare for these kids going into the workforce a little better?
Good question. I would think that you need to pull the, I'll say government department, because I don't know how your system works or what it is, but anytime we got to go somewhere government, I think you got to get that person in that area together with you and a bunch of print owners and have a day, have an event, and continually remind them and keep them updated on the importance of it, right? We're a pretty strong industry. You get the heads of some of our bigger associations to put in some information. Maybe you have some letters from the students that you set up that they could sign and send saying, we love this, we need it, we want it. You have to attack them, because I think like anything else, and I hate to say it like this though, the squeaky worm, if that's what it is, gets what they want. You got to be a little, you got to be a little louder, but in a very positive, respectful way, no negativity and no bashing, right? And then maybe you make some of the kids the face of a little campaign or a little presentation that you're putting out, because now you're playing politics, right? And that's a whole other, if you want to talk politics, I need a bottle of vodka with no cap. But that's what I would do. You know, online petitions, calling, get owners of companies, big companies to write some letters. Maybe you write the letter for them and they just sign it, because not everybody wants to write a letter.
I was going to say advisory council.
Yeah. Just we need more voices and positive voices.
And show and tell works pretty good too. If you can take them on a tour of a plant. I mean, the stuff that's going on these days in a printing plant is just amazing.
You're on my account.
There's a lot of neat stuff to see. So if anybody needs help in arranging something like that, a visit for your administrators to a printing plant, just let us know, and we'll connect. We'll connect with our connections in the different areas of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of printers. If there's something somebody wants to do, and then the other thing is, if you're getting a visit, you really have to plan it and present it well. The other thing I would suggest is, if you're doing a visit, maybe you get the local radio station or TV station to come in. Maybe you get the kids all set up and doing things and the excitement, and you put a spin on it with the TV station or the newscast about whoever's coming to do this for the kids, right? Everything is for the kids, because that's the only thing today that's really good, the kids. Nobody really is interested in the elders. So, and then you make it out there, and then you get the kids even and different places, social media, put it on there, put on the excitement, hashtag something. It's all those little things. And by the way, with the kids, and my kids make me crazy with all that stuff. My kids would rather stay in Motel 6 with cockroaches if it had free Wi-Fi than the Four Seasons, right? Because that's what the kids are today. So you got to just make it interactive for them. You got to make a little social media, keep them going, because even in my place, you're not supposed to have phones. You walk away, everybody's looking at their phone, right? At some point or something. So it's anything to engage them.
I was going to say, to that point, I didn't want to take too much away from your thing next, Paul, but
Yeah, okay.
As print ed, you know, we want to try and bridge that gap between the schools and the companies and the associations and the different organizations and stuff. Like I said, I won't take that. Paul will speak to that.
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely, Warren. Thank you so much